Hey gang, Robbie V. I'm in my house today. I got from FU-Tone.com. I ordered a big brass block for my Floyd Rose system on my Charvel. The block, which is I guess like the counterweight other than the springs underneath that holds the trem down, that gives it sustain and stuff. The one they give you is kind of shabby. I'll take a picture of it when I take it out. So I ordered this one's pretty heavy. It's solid brass. I got it from FU-Tone.com, and they supply all the Floyd parts for the big boys. So got it in the mail along with some coated springs, noiseless springs. So finally gonna take this thing apart since I got a little while before I'll have to play it again, and I got other guitars, of course. But we're gonna throw this block in. Also install the Red Bishop Magic Arm, which instead of being a screw collar lock arm for the Floyd Rose, it's just a pop in. So I'll get a little picture of that, and hopefully I can record everything I do, so anyone that wants to do this themselves can do it themselves. Shout out to Dirtbag Clothing. So here's the original Floyd arm that goes with this bridge. As you can see, the locking collar is on the arm itself. So you tighten this down, but sometimes it wiggles, it makes some noise. I don't know if people have noticed that. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, especially if you're, flipping it around a lot, it gets loose. So this is the Red Bishop Magic Arm, and the locking collar is on the housing that stays with the bridge. So you'd pop this in and lock it, and then this doesn't wiggle. Like even now, it's got a tightening movement, but as you tighten it down, it really doesn't have much wiggle, and this just stays, so you can put it where you want out of the way and grab it and let it go, and it doesn't flop around. So we'll see how we like that. So I took a picture of these so you can see where the saddles are. So since I have to take the saddles off, here's a little trick. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna loosen up the nut here, and then I'm gonna use this little simple trigger capo just to hold down the strings, so I don't have to take them all off and worry about them snapping. We'll just loosen them up, from the top, from the nut, so I can loosen them up a little bit to get in here to relieve tension, and then I'll use this little capo here just to hold the strings so they don't go all over the place. And I have this little tool I like to use. It's called the Trem Block, and a lot of people jam a lot of stuff back here, but I'm gonna use this Trem Block because it's got a nice soft bottom and it's pretty convenient, and whatever, I got it. So there you go. So first, my bridge is intonated and set up. So I've seen people on the internet, other people, maybe use tape to mark off where their saddles are. Because you have to take this whole piece off to get to the block, the screws to undo the block. So I've seen people mark those with tape. I'm gonna take a picture of it with my phone so I can remember where everything is. However, I have an intonation tool, this thing, where this sits. You lock it in and you use that to hold this piece. I'll do it. I'll take a little video for it later. I'll show you later. But this kind of locks it where it has to be for you to put those set screws. But I'm gonna take a picture of it and we'll see how that goes, because I'm gonna reset set it all up when I'm done. Maybe you could see it, maybe you can't. But I put, that's not in the little viewfinder there. So I loosened up the strings at the nut, and I put this little trigger capo down just to keep the strings from going all over the place. And then now what I'm doing is I put my trem block under the plate here. I'm gonna loosen up the fine tuners to let the strings out. Then I'm gonna take apart all the saddles, take the springs off the back, pull the unit out, and see how it goes. So this is my first time doing something like this. So just be aware, I've heard that these things fall out. I've never done it to a point where they have fallen out. These little blocks, setting blocks or whatever you want to call them. So just as you take these out and you manipulate the Floyd Rose trem itself, just be aware that you don't turn it upside down and lose one of those blocks. So, little PSA. So that's off there. Okay, gang, so my springs are out. As you can see, the trem fell out. And you can see that those little setting blocks fell out. So just put this to the side, you know, put them someplace safe. I have a little Tupperware here. So I'm gonna put those in there and just to keep them so I don't lose them, you know? And now we get into some other stuff. So I'm just gonna stand the guitar up for a while I work. I'm using this Cooper stand, which as you can see, very flat, fits into a gig bag, but it opens up to a guitar stand and you can put your guitar on it. So I recommend these, they're pretty cool. You can fit them in your gig bag there. I think they're 25 bucks or something. Now, I'm taking the fine tuners out. I'm not sure if they go in a special order. I don't think so, but I am gonna lay them on my little towel area here, you know, in order. So when I put them back, I know where they go. Now the fine tuners are out. I'm gonna get my little Allen key and we're gonna take the saddles off. And what you want to take note of mostly is not just where the front of the saddle is, but which hole each of these little screws are in. Because you'll see when oh, there goes two of these little things again. I might as well take them all out, you know. You'll see, like if you see on the bottom, there's 3 different holes here. So, you know, be aware of which screw is placed where. I pretty much have all of them in the front row, except for that G-string, because you know the G-string doesn't like to play nice. That's in the second hole. And I took a picture. So just when you put everything back, keep in mind where those screws are because you're gonna need to put those in. And just for the sake of order, I'm putting these with the screws the fine screws that came out of the back. So everything will go back exactly the way it was. Now after those saddles are taken out, you can see that there are 3 other screws in the plate that connect to this pot metal block. As you can see, pretty skinny. So this is the one from FU-Tone. Obviously wider, thicker, whatever you want to call it. And this block by itself weighs more than this entire setup here, you know? So obviously this is going to give you a substantial difference in tone, you know, because if you know anything about physics or whatever you want to call it, like, you know, density transfers sound better, sound vibrations, you know, sound is vibration and waves in the air, whatever. So this is already much heavier than this whole unit. So there you go. And before I even do that, while I have this kind of in place, I'm going to take this arm off and put the red Magic Bishop arm. And pretty much you just, as you can see, you just unscrew it with the Allen keys. It comes apart. So now this one, well, I guess that one you need a little screwdriver for, so I got one of those around. I guess you take off the back here. Okay, so with the red Bishop, you're gonna, so you can see it, you take off the back because there's a little spring. So you're gonna take the back off here. Alright, put that down. You're going to take the locking nut, locking nut off. Then you're going to slide, this into the place where it goes. Put that locking nut back on. And the red Bishop, when you buy it, the Magic Arm comes with these little pliers, these little wrenches, I mean. So you can see that, one of them holds the top. This one holds the top. And you take that little screw, and there's a little like hole for it. So it's very tiny, but you'll see it when you do it. There's only really one place that spring can go, because that spring is what holds this arm in. So you screw that in, and so this Magic Arm is ready to go. You can actually hear it lock into that spring. Tighten that up, and it's good. No wobble. Okay, so that was easy. Pull it right out. Cool. So now we're going to take off these 3 screws and get that shitty pot metal block out. And the cool thing about the Floyd Rose tremolo setup is that they give you 2 Allen keys, 2 Allen wrenches, hex wrenches, whatever you want to call them, and you use them for everything. So you don't have to go looking around for a screwdriver or have a wrench set you might not have. Whatever comes with the Floyd is what you need. So I personally have 2 of these hex wrenches or Allen keys on the back of the headstock of my guitar. It's this way I always have them around. I always make adjustments. But I don't know the exact size. I think one's 2 millimeters and the other might be 3 millimeters. But the good thing is that whatever, you only need the 2 wrenches for the Floyd Rose. You don't have to go searching around for different wrenches, different stuff. So take those off. Now this is the plate. The plate comes off. Yeah, be careful you don't lose this shit. I don't know if I need this. So I've seen on the internet that people take this off. So I think they do that to hold the block in because the one that comes with it is so skinny. I'm not gonna put it in. So we'll see what happens. Okay, now you see the little holes here? That's where your springs go into. So make sure you put them the right way, not backwards. So they should face the neck, not the bridge. So that goes there. So to be honest, I'm just kind of winging it. On the FU-Tone YouTube and website, there is an instructional video, but the unit itself, the block itself, doesn't come with any written directions. So I'm leaving this thing out because I feel like it was just there to make up for the lack of width or weight for this, for the old block. I also feel like, you know, I don't want this, whatever this is, cheap pot metal in between, you know, my gold Floyd plate and the brass block. So I'm just going to take it out. If I need it, I'm going to save it, obviously, so I could put it back in. But, you know, fuck it. We'll leave it out. So, hey, you know what? Leave me a comment if you think I should have left it in, and maybe I'll put it in. And to be honest with you guys, now that I have this brass block on, I could already tell it's going to make a huge difference, because it is significantly heavier than it was. And I didn't even put on the saddles yet. So now we're going to reattach the saddles. At this point, I'm going to go into my cell phone, which I, you know, took the picture of, and I'm going to try and get it best I can, and I'll you know, fix everything later. You know, this is a fun project too, guys, because, like, you know, it's, you know, we all love playing our guitars and shit like that, but, like, you know, this is cool because it really lets you get your hands on your instrument and see how it works and the insides of it and things, and that's good to know. It's good to know the ins and outs of shit like this. If you're ever on the road or something and things break, you could fix it easily. You don't have to rely on somebody else. You know, you also can see how these parts work together and you know, just get a better feel for your instrument. I don't know. That's what I feel like. You know, I feel like you should have an idea of what's going on here, and you know, it gives you a little sense of accomplishment that you got your hands on something. I know that we all play the guitar, and that's, you know, a joy in itself, but you know, it's nice to tinker with shit sometimes. You know, plus if you have any friends that, you know, maybe they notice a difference in the sound of your instrument, or maybe they're just thinking of doing it themselves, and you can help them with them. It's a, you know, it's good to do with bandmates or friends, little brothers or whatever, or just, you know, be helpful to people, because you never know when that's going to turn around into a lesson or an opportunity or just a friendship, you know, working on your guitars, man. It's just... Alright guys, and there you have it. That's how to install the FU big brass block and the Red Bishop arm that you could see stays where you put it, locks in, doesn't come out. Cool. Alright guys, so that's it. We put the Red Bishop magic arm, trem arm, the with the lock and collar that doesn't wiggle or make noise. We put the noiseless springs in the back of the cavity, which I went with 3, and then I had to put a 4th one in. I guess these aren't as heavy duty as the ones I had in before, because I had 3 and it was a little tight, so I thought I got the same ones. I was going to go with 2, and it ended up not working out, so I put 4 in. So I have one that's a little noisy. I'll either put shrink wrap on that, a little foam inside, or I'll figure something out. And we put in the FU-Tone big brass block. So, you know, before I close this bad boy up, we'll turn the camera around and you can see what's going on. So here's the Bishop red magic arm. So you can see I'm kind of holding the phone in one hand, but you can see it doesn't slide down, and there's no wiggle to it. You know, I mean, that's the trem, but there's no noise, you know. And then, like I said, I put in a 4th spring, so I'll probably get some heavier springs so I have a little bit more play in the claw, but that's okay. And we're all blocked up. That big block is in. And as you can see, I had to run that stopper all the way out and take the felt out. So at another point in time, I might put a little piece of Scotch tape in there or something just to keep it from clicking. But for now, it works. I'll figure something out. That's that, guys. Thanks.